Neon Genesis Evangelion is a story that proves that depression, mommy issues, and the apocalypse are a terrible combo, and there are a lot of scenes in the story that make me feel like this anime isn't about giant robots. So, we're about to break down some of the most unsettling scenes in the series, from scenes of child abuse, cannibalism, body horror, and the eventual transformation of human beings into orange juice. Here are some of the most disturbing scenes in Neon Genesis Evangelion. Rei getting choked. Rei being strangled by Naoko Akagi is one of those scenes that on the surface shouldn't be that disturbing. Well, that's if you compare it to all the other things happening in the series, as you will see later on in this video. Still, there's just something really weird about this scene that makes me shudder. When Rei tells Naoko that she's lost her way and Naoko is acting all caring about her and wanting to help her, Rei maintains that her little girls from the shining disposition and starts calling her an old hag. And then it starts looking like Akagi is having a psychedelic trip when Rei tells her that Gendo actually calls her an old hag of no use. The scene intensifies when she starts to recall all the time she's been intimate with Gendo. It seems like she was really giving her all in the relationship, and yet Bro is calling her a hag. And then we see the truly disturbing part. This woman starts strangling the little girl. I mean, the look on her face as she does it is deeply unsettling, but it doesn't even stop there. She starts calling Rei replaceable, saying the little girl is just as replaceable as she is. This is the scene that makes me uneasy because it brought down the walls for Naoko, a woman who has accomplished a lot in her field. She literally created one of the most sophisticated computer systems in the world, and yet she knows that deep down Gendo doesn't see her as anything but a tool. She will never compare to Yui Ikari. Rei's words is literally Gendo saying, "You are not as good as my ex." This breaks her mind, and she almost kills a little girl, and the funny thing is the girl doesn't even struggle. She just watches as someone chokes her to death. I thought this was supposed to be a mecha anime. What the hell is this? Unit 3's destruction. Throughout the series, our main character Shinji faces a lot of mind-altering situations that severely damage his mind, like having an absent father, almost getting killed by powerful aliens, and living with Misato. But by far one of the most significant situations that almost had my man sent to a psych ward was what happened to his friend Toji. In episode 18, Toji gets chosen to pilot EVA Unit 3 in order to help his hospitalized sister. This information wasn't disclosed to Shinji. And unknown to everyone, the 13th angel, Bardiel, which is parasitic in nature, had taken control of EVA 3, and an unsuspecting Toji was inserted into the compromised EVA, and when it's brought online, mayhem ensued. The EVA mutates and spirals out of control, basically causing a lot of problems. Shinji was eventually brought to take it down, but when he faces the rogue machine, he realizes that there's a human inside. He can't bring himself to harm a human, so Bro stops fighting, but Gendo does not give a hoot about his son's mental health. He fires up Operation Dummy System, which is basically forcing Shinji's EVA to operate on autopilot, a very bloodthirsty autopilot. The machine starts wailing on the angel-infested EVA, strangling the beast like he's Naoko from earlier in this video. Except the EVA didn't stop there. Bro brought the beast down and smashed its head until a pool of blood burst out of the suit. Even the nerve agents had to cover their eyes. But it gets worse. EVA 1 starts ripping it to pieces over and over and over. And while all that is happening, Shinji had to watch his EVA, which his mind and body were very much still connected to, do something so messed up, knowing that everything that happened would affect the human within. Bro cried and screamed for it to stop, but his body was moving against his will. The dummy system even grabbed the entry plug and crushed it with the human inside. After all is said and done, Shinji sees that it was his friend Toji who was inside all along. He was alive, but he'd lost a leg. The level of trauma that does to a person cannot be quantified. My man stood up and said, "Nah, I'm done with this," and quit working for Nerve. But sadly, Shinji's trauma was not over. Because while the fiasco with Toji was bad, it doesn't compare to what happened when EVA 1 fought Zeruel, the 14th angel, in a cannibalistic frenzy that will give Attack on Titan a run for its money. So Zeruel is doing what angels do, causing destruction, and giving the other EVA units a hard time. Bro is so bad that Rei and Asuka got both their arms ripped off, and just when we thought that Shinji had quit to preserve his mental health, he comes back and actually puts up a fight. But even he is no match for the angel. Bro also gets his arm ripped off. I guess Zeruel is one of those angels that needs a hand. But like what happened to me that day I tried to watch Boku no Pico, Shinji's battery dies except for him. It wasn't a good thing. Or was it? To the surprise of everyone, Eva 1 comes back to life despite having no power, except this time, it's not Shinji in control, it's his Eva itself. And this beast is primal as hell. Bro is working on all fours like a scene right out of Planet of the Apes, and it immediately lunges at the angel. Here I was sitting down thinking this was going to be another classic beatdown, but I was wrong. Eva 1 starts eating the angel. The scene was so unhinged that Eva 1 looked at the camera like, "Do you see what I'm doing?" and then went right back to business. Bro ate the angel and its S2 engine, so it became energy sufficient. The scene was so horrific that everyone around was struggling to hold back their vomit. You can imagine what Shinji was experiencing during the entire thing. That was scene number 3. We're not even at the halfway point. In episode 23, Ritsuko Akagi, the daughter of Naoko Akagi, was also being banged by Gendo Ikari. Their relationship was extremely similar to the relationship he had with her mother. But what Ritsuko reveals in this scene is absolutely sickening. When Shinji and Misato confront her about the truth about Rei, she takes them deep underneath the nerve facility and shows them the disturbing reality of the friend that they care about. There's glass containers filled with LCL. That's the liquid the pilots submerge in to control their EVAs. It looks a lot like orange juice. Inside the containers are dozens of Rei clones. They all have the blank smile, unmoving and unsettling. Ritsuko tells them the truth, that Rei is a replaceable tool that Gendo had created, mixing the DNA of his wife, Yui Ikari, and the essence of Lilith. While there are dozens of human vessels, there is only one Lilith soul. So when one Rei dies, Gendo moves her soul into the next available Rei clone. Ritsuko had a hand in helping Gendo maintain the operation, but she's done being his tool, and suddenly she triggers a mechanism and kills every single one of the clones. The LCL shatters the glass and the bodies of Rei fall to the floor. Both Shinji and Misato have to watch as dozens of Rei corpses are piled up right in front of their eyes. The worst part is every single one of them was smiling. Funny how Ritsuko's mother tried to kill Rei at the start of all this, and now Ritsuko managed to finish the job. Asuka Langley Soryu is one of the most annoying and somewhat sympathetic characters in the series. And despite all her screaming and silliness, Asuka was the recipient of some of the greatest head trips I've seen in a long time. You see, Asuka had been feeling rather useless at this point in the series. Her synchronization with her Eva had been decreasing, and everyone else has been showing her up. Asuka is competitive and desperate to prove herself, so when the angel, Ariel, shows itself, she's determined to fight it alone. Bad idea. Ariel is not like the other angels. It does not believe in physical confrontations. No, its way is a lot more devastating. Ariel messes with the mind of its victim and makes them recall the horrors of their past, like my ex-girlfriend used to do to me. Ariel hangs in Earth's orbit and doesn't even bother getting within range of an attack. It beams a powerful ray of light into Asuka's cockpit, and this sends her into a psychological frenzy, where she relives every single traumatic experience that has ever happened to her. But it gets so much worse because she starts to see visions of her childhood and what happened to her mother, Kyoko. Sadly, her mother had an accident during a contact experiment with EVA Unit 2 that made her lose her mind. Kyoko forgot all about Asuka and started treating a doll as her daughter and referring to Asuka as that girl. At this point, Asuka was still a young child who needed love and attention from her mother, but she never got it. The icing on the cake came when Asuka walked into her mother's room to find that her mother had taken her own life by hanging herself. What's worse is that she also hanged the doll, meaning she killed the entity she thought was her daughter. I'm just going to say this, that is not okay. A child should never have to see that, not to mention reliving it so vividly. The vision, in conjunction with seeing something or everything bad that has ever happened to her, every heartbreak, every rejection, and moments of shame, it broke Asuka, and she eventually goes into a catatonic state. She's a hollow shell of what she used to be, her mind violated. Thankfully, Rei kills Ariel by hauling the Spear of Longinus into space. Asuka gets taken to the hospital, and this leads us to what some people call the most disturbing scene in the entire episodic run of Evangelion. In this episode, Shinji visits the comatose Asuka in the hospital after her fight with Ariel. She's unconscious and she tries to get her to wake up, but she doesn't. And as he tries to wrestle her awake, her loose-fitted hospital gown comes off, revealing her unclothed body. Now we're going to have to blur this part out for obvious reasons, and thankfully the anime doesn't go into vivid details by showing us what happens next, but we can infer from context. Seeing Asuka exposed in this manner awakens a twisted attraction in Shinji, so he pleasures himself while looking at his unconscious friend. By the time he's finished, he looks at the mess on his hand like it belongs to someone else and realizes what a disgusting person he is. Post-nut clarity. It's a truly horrific scene, one that makes me sick to my stomach every time I think about it, because yes, Shinji is as much a victim of his circumstances as everyone else in the series, but in that moment, Shinji violated Asuka. Bro's mind was so damaged, and yet it was damaged further by what he did. It's honestly one of the weirdest ways to, climax the season, no pun intended. When Zeilei, the organization preparing to initiate human instrumentality, learns that Gendo also has his own plans for instrumentality, they enlist the help of the JSSDF, a Japanese military task force to annihilate everyone at Nerve. Throughout the series, the Angels were the bad guys. They're the ones who want to take out humanity. But something about this scene suggests that maybe there are worse things than Angels. The precision with which the JSSDF carried out their ground assault was really telling. These guys were blowing up trucks and taking out security personnel all around the building. These are people who don't even know a bit about what Gendo is up to. When they were done with security, they moved to the scientists. One of the scientists even tried to tell them, like, "Yo, I'm just a scientist. I'm not doing anything wrong." Not only did they shoot this guy, Bro stepped up and shot him several times to make sure he was dead. That's the kind of thing that breaks you. There's even this girl who tried dragging away her comrade to safety. She also got gunned down like cattle. It was brutal. It's here that the Nerve agents meet a broken Shinji, and you can hear them laughing as they are about to kill a child. It's just a hallmark of human cruelty. Thankfully, Misato swooped in to take out the ops and save Shinji, although she did not come out of the ensuing altercation unscathed. I shudder to think about all the corpses the JSSDF left in their wake, killing a ton of innocent people just because. The sad part is Shinji wasn't the only pilot they wanted to kill. Due to Asuka's state, she was placed in EVA 2 and sunk to the bottom of a lake for her own protection. It's there she gets an epiphany. Her mother's consciousness was somehow tied to EVA 2, and it's been looking out for her ever since. This means Kyoko actually did love her. This gives Asuka the strength to come out of her depressive state and kick some Zeilei booty. But by now you should know that when good things happen in Evangelion, something nasty is coming down in the distance. Zeilei sends their newly completed artificial Evas, all armed with their own Longinus spears and S2 engines, and they can all shape-shift. They land on the lake surrounding Asuka at the moment when she has just about 3 minutes left in her batteries. All 9 of the Evas have a smiling look on their face as Asuka attacks. The cool thing is she actually holds her own against the Evas, bringing that signature Asuka fury and bathing in the blood of her enemies. It was gruesome. But even though she did manage to take a lot of them out, the Evas subtly revealed their regenerative abilities because fighting fair is a taboo. By now, Asuka's batteries are running out, and it doesn't take long until her face is impaled by a Longinus spear. But here's the part that will keep you up all night. The artificial Evas don't stop there. Not only do they keep pouncing on her, they also shift into their vulture-like forms to eat Eva too. Now, I came here for a mecha anime. I don't know why the creators insisted on giving their mechs human intestines, but seeing the vultures eat all the very human-like innards and knowing that Asuka could feel the whole thing like it was happening to her real body, that broke something in me. It's not an easy thing to bring body horror into a series that's supposed to be about robots. This brings us to the final scene of the movie. Now, while it might not be as borderline disgusting as some of the other scenes in this video, I think this one holds up in the amount of depression and cringe it gives to the audience. If you follow the story of Evangelion, you'll know that the major players in the series all want to trigger something called the Third Impact. Both the Angels, Gendo, and Zeilei. Everyone wants the Third Impact for their own purpose. This Third Impact will trigger human instrumentality, and we had no idea how severe that would be until it actually happened. Gendo gets Rei to combine with both the essence of Adam and Lilith in Rei's body, but she rejects him and only absorbs the Adam embryo. When she emerges with the body of Lilith and turns into a giant godlike being that joins with Shinji's Eva, and it looks really, really weird, I'm not going to lie. But with the new union, they begin instrumentality. Here we watch as every single human being in the world gets turned into the liquid known as LCL. Technically, everyone is alive, but they're all in one big giant soup. It's truly hard to imagine or look at. Humanity became some kind of hive mind, single consciousness, and we watch as Rey bends all of it into an unsettling mass inside the Black Moon. The most disturbing thing about Evangelion isn't any single scene on this list. It's that when everyone on Earth dissolves into liquid, the song playing is a cheerful pop ballad called Come Sweet Death, and it sounds beautiful. In the end, Shinji opts for turning things back to normal because, let's face it, communism is overrated and life is worth living on an individual level, even if there's a lot of bad happening. So that is the gist of all the disturbing scenes from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Let us know in the comments if you think there's one that we missed, and if you want to see more videos like this, then check out the video right here.